The studio lights were off, but the room was alive with ghosts. Risay stood barefoot on the cold floor, staring at the piano as if it had betrayed her. A melody hummed faintly in her head, one she hadn't written, one she recognized too well. Bruno sat on the couch behind her, phone clenched in his hand, knuckles white. "They leaked it," he said hoarsely. She didn't turn around. "The demo." "Yes." Silence cracked open between them. The song had been private, recorded months ago. A raw, unfinished track Bruno had written in the early days, before the car, before the truth, before everything exploded. It wasn't released for a reason. It carried too many names between the lines. Risay finally turned. "Which version?" Bruno's jaw tightened. "The first one." Her heart dropped. "The one with her." He nodded. Outside, the internet was already on fire. Clips looping endlessly. Lyrics dissected like evidence in a trial. Fans arguing, choosing sides, rewriting a story none of them fully knew. Risay's voice shook. "They think the song is about Jennie." Bruno stood abruptly. "Because it was," he admitted, "at first." The word "first" landed like a slap. Risay felt the room tilt. "You told me it was." "I told you it changed," he said quickly. "I rewrote it. I changed the bridge, the ending." "But the core was still there," she whispered. "The feeling." He took a step toward her. "Risay, listen to me." "No," she said, backing away. "You listen to me. Do you know what it feels like to hear the world sing along to your lover's past?" His face crumpled. "I never meant for you to hear it like this." "And yet I did," she said, tears spilling. "In surround sound." A notification buzzed again. Risay glanced down, her breath caught. A live stream. Jennie. She was sitting in a dim room, hair loose, eyes bare. No makeup, no smile. The comments scrolled so fast they blurred. "I didn't plan to go live," Jennie said on screen, voice steady but thin. "But I need to say this once and then I'm done." Risay sank onto the piano bench. Bruno froze. "That song," Jennie continued, "was written during a time when everything was unclear. It doesn't belong to me anymore, and it doesn't belong to anyone else either." She paused, swallowing hard. "But don't turn it into a weapon. None of us deserves that." The comments exploded. "She's lying. She's protecting them. She's broken." Jennie's eyes glistened. "I loved someone who couldn't love me back. That happens. What hurt wasn't rejection, it was erasure. So let me be clear." She leaned closer to the camera. "I was loved, just not chosen." Risay covered her mouth. Jennie exhaled shakily. "And I refuse to compete with a woman I respect." The live ended. The studio was silent again, but nothing felt quiet. Bruno dropped onto the couch, burying his face in his hands. "I ruined everything." Risay stood slowly. "No," she said, her voice eerily calm. "You hid everything." He looked up sharply. "That's not fair." "Isn't it?" she shot back. "You kept that song like a locked drawer. You let me believe the past was settled." "I was trying to protect you," he snapped. "From what?" she cried. "From the truth or from your guilt?" The words hit their mark. Bruno stood, anger flaring. "You think this is easy for me. You think I don't hear her voice every time I touch a piano." Risay's eyes blazed. "Then why am I the one bleeding right now?" They stood inches apart, breathing hard, love and resentment colliding violently. Bruno's voice dropped. "Because love doesn't erase history." Risay's lips trembled, then stopped pretending it does. He reached for her. She stepped back. "Don't," she said. "Not until you answer me." He stilled. "Did you ever think," she asked quietly, "that choosing me meant choosing to fully let her go?" "Yes," he said immediately. "Then why does it feel like I'm living in her shadow?" The question shattered something fragile and essential. Bruno's shoulders slumped. "Because I didn't finish grieving before I fell in love again." Risay closed her eyes, the truth cutting deeper than lies ever could. "I can't be your healing place," she whispered. "I can only be your partner." He nodded, eyes wet. "Tell me what you need." She met his gaze, resolute. Distance, not from love, from noise, from unfinished business, from songs that still hurt people. His throat bobbed. And if that distance changes how you feel, then we face that honestly too, she said. I won't be another secret track. Outside, sirens wailed faintly. Inside, the studio held its breath. Bruno stepped back, giving her space he'd never learned to give before. I'll pull the song, he said. I'll make a statement. That's not enough, Risset replied softly. This isn't a PR problem, it's a trust problem. She picked up her jacket, hands steady despite the storm inside her. I love you, she said, but tonight I choose myself. The door closed behind her, with a quiet finality that echoed louder than any headline. Bruno stood alone in the studio, the piano staring back like an accusation, the melody still humming, unfinished, unresolved, waiting for a truth brave enough to end it. The rain found Risset before Bruno could. It soaked her jacket, her hair, her thoughts, as she walked without direction, phone buzzing relentlessly in her pocket. She ignored it until the vibration felt like a second heartbeat, insistent, accusing. When she finally stopped under a flickering streetlight, breath ragged, she looked. Bruno, again and again. Then a message that made her chest tighten. Jennie, we need to talk. Not online, not through lyrics, meet me. Risset's fingers hovered, trembling. She typed one word. Where? The cafe was nearly empty, the kind that stayed open too late and asked no questions. Jennie sat in the corner, hood pulled low, hands wrapped around a cup she hadn't touched. When Risset approached, Jennie didn't look up immediately. I wondered if you'd come, Jennie said finally. I didn't know if I should, Risset replied, sliding into the seat across from her. But I couldn't not. Jennie smiled faintly. Story of our lives. Silence stretched. The rain tapped the window like impatient fingers. They're tearing you apart, Jennie said, for walking out. Risset laughed weakly. They always want a villain. Today it's me. Jennie's eyes sharpened. Is it? Risset stiffened. What does that mean? It means, Jennie said slowly, that when you left, you did something I never could. You chose yourself over the narrative. Risset swallowed. It didn't feel brave. It felt like drowning. Jennie nodded. That's how freedom starts. Risset studied her, really studied her, and saw exhaustion beneath the composure. You're live, she said softly. Why did you do it? Jennie looked down at her hands. Because I was tired of being spoken about instead of listened to. And because I needed him to hear me say it without hiding. Hear what? That I wasn't a chapter, Jennie said. I was a whole story. Risset's throat tightened. He's trying to fix things. I know, Jennie replied. He called, I didn't answer. Risset hesitated. He's hurting. Jennie's gaze snapped up. So are you. That landed. Jennie leaned back, exhaling. Let me ask you something no one else will. If he never wrote another song about her, or me, would you be okay with the ones he already did? Risset closed her eyes. The answer hurt. I don't know, she admitted. I want to be chosen without asterisks. Jennie's voice softened. Then don't settle for being the present tense while his past still sings louder. Risset's phone buzzed again on the table. Bruno, this time a voicemail, she didn't play it. Jennie stood. I didn't ask you here to push you away from him, she said. I asked you here to tell you this. She leaned closer, lowering her voice. If he wants you, he needs to finish what he started with me, not romantically. Honestly, no more half-truths wrapped in talent. Risset met her eyes. And you? Jennie smiled, sad and fierce. I'm done being unfinished business. They stood there, two women bound by the same storm, neither victorious, neither defeated. Across the city, Bruno sat alone in the studio, the leaked melody looping in his head like a wound that refused to scab. His phone lay face down, unanswered messages piling up. He pressed his fingers to the keys and stopped himself. No, he whispered to the empty room. No more hiding behind sound. He grabbed his jacket and left. By the time he reached the cafe, it was too late. He saw them through the window, Risay and Jennie standing together, faces serious, aligned in a way he'd never been part of. Something inside him broke, not from jealousy, but from clarity. Risay stepped outside first. She froze when she saw him. "I came to talk," he said quickly. "Not to convince, to listen." Jennie emerged behind her. The three of them stood under the awning as rain poured harder, the world blurring at the edges. "I won't compete," Bruno said, voice steady but raw. "With the past, with expectations, with you." He looked at Jennie. "I owe you a truth without melody." Jennie crossed her arms. "Then say it." "I loved you," Bruno said, "and I didn't let it end properly. I carried it forward like a ghost and called it inspiration. That was unfair." Jennie's eyes shone. "And now?" "And now," he continued, turning to Risay, "I love her. But love doesn't get to skip accountability." Risay searched his face. "What are you willing to do?" He didn't hesitate. "Step back, speak plainly. Let the song go, let you go if that's what you need." The rain roared. Risay felt her heart split open, not in pain, but in possibility. "I don't want you to let me go," she said. "I want you to walk beside me without dragging echoes." Bruno nodded. "Then I'll earn that." Jennie took a breath, then nodded once. "Good," she said, "because this ends tonight." She turned to Risay, eyes gentle. "Whatever happens next, it won't be because we stayed silent." Jennie walked away into the rain, lighter somehow, leaving them standing in the aftermath of honesty. Risay looked at Bruno, rain streaking down her face like truth finally set free. "This is the hardest version of love," she said. He took a step closer, careful. "I know." She didn't pull away. "If we do this," she continued, "we do it without secrets, not even beautiful ones." He met her gaze, especially not those. They stood there as the storm began to ease, the city exhaling with them, knowing that whatever came next wouldn't be clean or easy, but it would finally be real. The rehearsal hall was packed, but the air felt thin. Risay stood at center stage, mic cold in her hand, eyes fixed on the far wall where the exit glowed red. The showcase was supposed to be simple, an intimate industry night, stripped down, no spectacle. Instead, it felt like a public trial. Whispers rippled through the room as Bruno walked in late, jacket still damp, face unreadable. Cameras lifted. Someone laughed too loudly. Backstage, Jennie watched from the shadows, arms crossed, pulse steady in a way that surprised even her. She had promised herself she wouldn't come. She came anyway. The producer clapped his hands. "We're rolling in 30. Risay closed her eyes. When she opened them, Bruno was in front of her. "5 minutes," he said quietly. "Can we talk?" Her jaw tightened. "You said no more last-minute truths." "This isn't that," he replied. "This is me asking." She studied him, the sincerity, the fatigue etched into his face. "Say it here." He nodded. "I pulled the song," he said. "Every version, I told them it won't be released, ever." Her breath hitched, and the statement. "I didn't write one," he said. "I'm not going to narrate us into safety." A murmur swelled as someone recognized the tension. A phone flashed. Jennie stepped forward from the shadows. "Good," Jennie said, voice calm, carrying. "Because statements don't heal anything." All eyes snapped to her. Risay turned, stunned. "Jennie." "I'm not here to interrupt," Jennie said. "I'm here to finish." The producer stammered. This isn't." "It is," Jennie said firmly. "If you want honesty, you don't get to curate it." The room went silent. Bruno took a breath. "I'm listening." Jennie nodded once. "Say it again, in front of everyone, not as art, as accountability." Bruno swallowed. "I loved you," he said to Jennie. "And I avoided ending it because I was afraid of the fallout. I let you carry ambiguity I should have carried myself." A gasp moved through the room. Jennie continued, eyes steady. "And to be clear, I wasn't promised anything. I wasn't led with words. I was led with silence. That's on both of us for not nomming it sooner." She turned to Risay. "You don't owe me an apology, but I owe you the truth." Risay's hands trembled. "What truth?" "That when I saw you walk out of the studio," Jennie said, voice softening. I realized love doesn't just break hearts. It reveals where we hide. Risay blinked hard. Why say this now? Because people think there's a winner here, Jennie replied. There is. A reporter's voice cut through from the back. Then why stay? Jennie smiled thinly. Because closure doesn't mean absence, it means clarity. The producer glanced between them. We're live in 2. Risay looked at Bruno. Are you ready? He nodded. If you are. They stepped onto the stage together. Lights flared. Applause erupted, then faltered as the tension registered. Risay lifted the mic. I'm not here to perform a story you already decided, she said. I'm here to sing what's unfinished. Bruno moved to the piano but didn't sit. He stayed standing. This song won't be released, he said into the mic. Tonight is the only time. A hush fell. He began to play simple, restrained. No flourish. Risay sang, voice bare, lyrics unadorned, about choosing truth over myth, about refusing to be a bridge between past and present. Halfway through, she stopped. Don't follow, she said to Bruno. He didn't argue. He closed the piano. The silence was louder than music. Jennie stepped forward unexpectedly and took the spare mic. The room froze. This is the last thing I'll say about it, she said. Love didn't leave me. I left what couldn't love me back. She handed the mic to Risay. Their fingers brushed, brief, electric. Risay whispered, thank you. Jennie nodded. Don't waste it. Bruno spoke last. I won't write around this, he said. I'll live through it. The applause that followed was uncertain, then thunderous, then fractured, some cheering, some stunned, some furious. Phones buzzed. Opinions ignited. Backstage, the 3 of them stood in a triangle that felt different now. Less sharp, more honest. Risay exhaled. I'm exhausted. Jennie smiled, small and real. Good, that means you didn't perform. Bruno looked between them. I don't expect forgiveness, he said. Jennie shrugged. I don't offer it on demand. She turned to Risay. But I trust you to choose yourself. Risay nodded. I will. Jennie left first, this time without looking back, and without the weight she'd carried for too long. Bruno leaned against the wall, eyes closed. If you want space, he said, I'll take it. Risay studied him, the man who finally stopped hiding behind sound. I don't want space, she said. I want consistency. He opened his eyes. Then I'll show you. Outside, the crowd argued, celebrated, condemned. Inside, the noise softened. Risay picked up her jacket. Come on, she said. We're not done, but we're done running. He followed, not ahead, not behind, beside her, into a night that promised nothing except the courage to keep choosing the truth, even when it burned. The car didn't move for a full minute after the doors closed. City lights smeared across the windshield like bruises. Risay sat rigid in the passenger seat, fingers laced so tightly her knuckles blanched. Bruno kept both hands on the steering wheel, not driving, not turning to look at her, as if one wrong motion would shatter whatever fragile truce the night had forged. You let her walk away alone, Risay said at last, her voice calm in a way that scared him more than anger. Bruno exhaled. She didn't want an escort. That's not what I mean, Risay replied, finally turning to him. Her eyes were glassy but sharp. You let her be the strongest person in the room again. He flinched. She chose that. No, Risay said softly. You relied on it. Silence slammed between them. He started the engine, pulling into traffic. Say what you're thinking. I'm thinking, Risay said, watching neon signs flicker past. That tonight could have been the end of a lie or the beginning of a different one. His grip tightened. I didn't lie up there. I know, she said. That's why I'm terrified. He glanced at her then, really looked. Of me. Of us, she answered. Truth doesn't automatically make things safe. The car stopped at a red light. A group of fans stood on the corner, phones raised, faces lit with excitement and speculation. One recognized them. A gasp, a whisper. The light changed. Bruno drove on. Inside another car, 3 blocks back, Jennie watched their taillights disappear. Her driver asked, "Home?" "No," Jennie said. Her voice was steady, but her chest burned. "Studio." She leaned back, eyes closing. The applause still rang in her ears, warped into something ugly. She had meant every word she said. That didn't make it painless. Her phone vibrated. A message from an unknown number. "You think tonight made you free. It didn't." Her jaw tightened. She typed back without hesitation. "Who is this?" A second later, another message appeared. "Someone who knows what really happened in Tokyo." Her breath caught. Memories surged. Rain, a hotel corridor, a door closing too softly. A promise that had never been named, only assumed. "Stop the car," Jennie said sharply. Meanwhile, Risset and Bruno arrived at his place, the penthouse dark except for the city glow bleeding through floor-to-ceiling windows. The door clicked shut behind them with finality. Risset didn't take off her coat. "Before anything else," she said, "I need to know something." He nodded. "Ask." "Did you ever love her?" Risset said. "The way you say you love me." The question hung there, raw and unshielded. Bruno rubbed his face. "I loved what we were before I was honest with myself," he said. "I loved the quiet, the familiarity. I loved not having to change." "And me?" Risset asked. He met her gaze. "You scare me," he said, "because loving you means I can't hide." Her eyes filled. "That's not an answer." He stepped closer. "I didn't choose you because it was easy," he said. "I chose you because I couldn't walk away without losing myself." She searched his face for cracks, for evasion. "Then don't make me pay for your fear later." "I won't," he said quickly. "I swear." "Don't swear," Risset snapped, emotion finally breaking through. "Prove it." She turned away, packing, hands in her hair. "Do you know what it's like," she said, voice shaking, "to walk into a room knowing half the people there think you're a chapter in someone else's scandal?" He followed her. "I never wanted that for you." "But it happened," she said, spinning back. "And tonight, for the first time, I saw her bleeding because of it. Not rumors, not headlines, a real person." "I know," he said hoarsely, "and I hate myself for it." A sharp knock at the door made them both freeze. Bruno frowned. "No one knows I'm here." Another knock, firmer. Risset's heart pounded. "Bruno." He opened the door. Jennie stood there. Her eyes were dry, her expression unreadable. "I'm not here to fight," she said before either of them could speak. "I'm here because someone just threatened to burn all three of us." Bruno stiffened. "What?" She walked in, holding up her phone. "Tokyo," she said. "They know details no one should." Risset's stomach dropped. "What details?" Jennie hesitated, then looked directly at her. "About the night I almost said yes to something that would have destroyed me," she said. "And the morning I realized silence can be weaponized." Bruno ran a hand through his hair. "This is my fault." "Yes," Jennie said flatly, "but it's my problem too." Risset crossed her arms, fighting the urge to cry. "So what now?" Jennie met her gaze, something raw and unguarded passing between them. "Now," she said, "we stop letting men's indecision write our endings." Bruno recoiled slightly. "That's not fair." "It's accurate," Jennie cut in. Then softer, "and it doesn't mean I hate you." She turned to Risset. "But you need to know everything if you're going to stay." Risset swallowed. "Then tell me." Jennie took a breath, the weight of years pressing down. "Tokyo wasn't an accident," she began. "It was where I realized love without courage is just another form of abandonment." The city hummed outside, indifferent. Three lives stood on the edge of a truth none of them could unhear, and for the first time, no one was reaching for the exit. Not yet. The rain began without warning, striking the glass walls like a confession no one had prepared for. Jennie stood by the window now, city lights trembling through the downpour, her reflection fractured. Risset sat on the edge of the sofa, hands clasped, while Bruno remained frozen between them, as if any step would tip the balance of something already breaking. "Say it," Risset whispered, her voice barely surviving the room. Whatever Tokyo was, say it out loud. Jennie laughed softly, bitter. You think saying it will make it smaller? I think not saying it will destroy us, Risei replied. Bruno closed his eyes. Jennie. Don't, Jennie cut in, turning sharply. You don't get to soften this. She faced Risei fully. Tokyo was the night I realized I loved him, she said, words steady but eyes burning. Not the way people assume, not desperately, but quietly. The kind that waits. The kind that believes if you're patient enough, you'll be chosen. Risei felt her throat tighten. And were you? Jennie shook her head. No, I was postponed. Bruno stepped forward. I never promised. But you never denied it either, Jennie snapped. You let me hope. You let me stand beside you in silence while you figured out your heart. Silence crashed down again, heavier than before. Risei rose slowly. Did you touch her? She asked Bruno, her voice hollow. No, he said immediately. I swear. Jennie looked away. He didn't, she confirmed, because even then he was already somewhere else. Risei exhaled shakily. With me. Yes, Jennie said. And that's the cruelest part. I lost before I ever competed. Bruno reached for Risei's hand, instinctive, desperate. She let him but didn't squeeze back. So what do you want now? Risei asked Jennie. An apology, a confession, a miracle. I want the truth to stop being selective, Jennie replied. I want both of you to know that loving someone who doesn't choose you doesn't make you noble. It makes you invisible. Bruno's voice broke. You were never invisible to me. Jennie met his eyes, tears finally spilling. Then why am I the one who has to leave every time? Risei felt something inside her crack, not jealousy, not anger, but grief. She stepped closer to Jennie, surprising them both, and wrapped her arms around her. Jennie stiffened, then collapsed into the embrace, shoulders shaking. I'm sorry, Risei whispered. Not for loving him, for hurting you without knowing how deep it went. Jennie clutched her coat. I didn't want to be strong tonight, she sobbed. I wanted someone to fight for me. The rain grew heavier, drowning the city in white noise. When Jennie finally pulled away, she wiped her face and straightened. I got the threat wrong, she said quietly. It wasn't about exposing us. Bruno frowned. Then what was it? It was about reminding me, Jennie said, eyes distant, that I don't belong in this story anymore. She walked to the door. Don't go, Bruno said. She paused, hand on the handle. That's the problem, she replied. You only say that when I already am. She left without another word. The door closed. Risei stared at it, heart pounding. If I stay, she said slowly, this will haunt us. I know, Bruno whispered. And if I go, she continued, tears falling freely now, I'll always wonder if love is just choosing who hurts less. He pulled her into his arms, holding her as if the world might collapse. I love you, he said, desperate. I choose you. She cried into his shoulder, the sound muffled and raw. Love shouldn't sound like an echo of someone else leaving. Hours later, dawn crept in pale and merciless. Risei stood by the window alone now, watching the rain fade into mist. Bruno slept on the couch, exhaustion finally claiming him. Her phone buzzed. A message from Jennie. Take care of him. He's not cruel, just afraid. Risei typed back with trembling fingers. And you. The reply came after a long pause. I'll learn how to stop waiting. Risei pressed the phone to her chest, tears streaming silently. Outside, the city woke up, unaware that somewhere above it, 3 hearts had collided, and only 2 were left holding the weight of what love had cost. The car from that midnight drive would never feel quiet again. Because some silences don't fade. They stay. And they ache.